There's a story about a Roman emperor who had every reason to be anxious. He commanded the most powerful army in the world. He was responsible for millions of lives. Wars broke out on his borders. Plagues swept through his cities. Betrayal lurked in his own court. And yet Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote in his private journal, just for himself, with no intention of anyone ever reading it, "Confine yourself to the present, not push harder, not fight more, not never stop. Confine yourself to the present." We live in a world that screams the opposite. Hustle culture tells us that peace is laziness, that if you're not grinding, you're falling behind. That success only comes to those who burn brightest, even if it means burning out entirely. But the Stoics discovered something quietly revolutionary. The frantic chase is often what keeps us from what we want most. Think about water for a moment. It doesn't argue with the rocks in its path. It doesn't panic. It doesn't force. It simply flows around, over, through, and eventually it shapes entire landscapes. That is the kind of power we're talking about today. Here are 10 Stoic principles that will change not just how you pursue your goals, but who you become in the process. Principle 1. The art of detached desire. Have you ever noticed that the things you desperately want tend to feel just out of reach, while the things you hold lightly seem to come naturally? There's a reason for that. And the Stoics understood it centuries before modern psychology caught up. Epictetus was born a slave. He had nothing, no possessions, no freedom, no power over his own body. And yet, he became one of the most respected thinkers in all of Rome. Here's what he taught from that place of having nothing. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This isn't about giving up your dreams. It's about understanding the difference between wanting something and needing it. When you need something, you move through life with a quiet desperation that people can sense, and that energy pushes opportunities away. But when you want something while being genuinely okay without it, something shifts. You become calm, confident, magnetic. Think about the most effortlessly successful people you know. They're not the ones posting desperate affirmations at midnight or constantly talking about what they lack. They're the ones who hold their desires lightly, like a butterfly resting on an open palm. They care, but they're not consumed. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. Yes, you prefer success, love, and abundance. But your inner peace doesn't depend on them arriving on schedule. Practice this today. Hold your biggest desire in your mind and then take a deep breath and say, "This or something even better." Feel how that single phrase releases the pressure and opens the door to possibilities you couldn't even imagine before. Principle 2. Present moment magnetism. Most of us are time travelers, constantly jumping between a past we can't change and a future that hasn't happened yet. And in that constant jumping, we miss where all our real power lives, right here, right now. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This isn't just beautiful philosophy, it's practical wisdom. When your mind is fully present, you notice things your scattered, anxious mind would miss entirely. The casual comment that leads to your next big opportunity. The intuitive pull to take a different route. The right person standing right in front of you. But here's what most people don't realize about presence. It's not just about awareness. It's about energy. When you're truly present, you're not dragging the weight of yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's fears into the room with you. And that kind of uncluttered energy is magnetic. Think about the most captivating people you've ever met. They weren't glancing at their phones mid-conversation. They weren't talking about what they were going to do someday. They were here, fully looking you in the eye, making you feel like the only person in the room. That's presence. And it changes everything. The beautiful irony is this: when you stop living for the future, you build a better one. When you stop trying to escape the present moment, this moment becomes the launching pad for everything you've been dreaming of. Start small. When your mind wanders, come back to your breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Look around and notice what's real, what's here, what's now. This isn't meditation. This is manifestation practice. Principle 3. The wisdom of accepted resistance. Obstacles are not a possibility. They are a guarantee. The question is never whether resistance will come. The question is who you'll be when it does. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues that killed millions, wars on multiple fronts, and betrayal from people he trusted. And yet, in the middle of all of it, he wrote something that has echoed across centuries. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Most people experience an obstacle and immediately conclude the universe is working against them. They take it personally, get discouraged, and often stop entirely. But what if every obstacle is actually the universe's way of making you more ready for what you've asked for? Consider the oyster. The irritation of a grain of sand doesn't destroy it. It creates something rare and beautiful. Your obstacles aren't punishments. They're invitations to grow into the version of yourself that can actually handle the level of success you're reaching for. When you stop resisting resistance, when you get curious about it instead of angry at it, something remarkable happens. You stop wasting energy fighting what is, and you start using that energy to navigate through what is. You become like water again, flexible, persistent, unstoppable. Next time something doesn't go according to plan, try asking, how might this actually be serving me? What is this moment trying to teach me? What am I becoming because of this? Sometimes the delay is protection. Sometimes the detour leads somewhere better than your original destination. Sometimes the no is clearing the path for a much bigger yes. Principle 4. The power of inner authority. Here is a truth that might sting a little. Most of us have been giving our power away our entire lives, to other people's opinions, to circumstances we can't control, to the state of our bank accounts and the approval of people who barely know us. And that's exactly why what we want feels so far away. Epictetus, the same man who was once owned by another human being, taught, "No one can hurt you without your permission." Think about what that really means. Every time you say, "I can't be happy until," or "I'll feel successful when," you are handing the keys to your own kingdom to something outside yourself. You are making your peace conditional, your joy a hostage. Reclaiming your inner authority doesn't mean becoming indifferent to outcomes. It means refusing to make outcomes responsible for your well-being. And here's the strange power in that shift. When you know you can be at peace regardless of your circumstances, you make better decisions. When your worth isn't determined by external validation, you show up more authentically. When your security comes from within, you take bigger risks because you're not afraid of losing something you never needed in the first place. People sense this. Opportunities flow toward those who aren't desperately chasing them. Success gravitates toward those who don't need it to feel whole. Before you check your phone tomorrow morning, before you look at your bank account or scroll through social media, pause. Ask yourself, how do I choose to feel right now, regardless of what I'm about to see? Then honor that choice. Principle 5. The art of strategic non-action. This one goes against everything modern culture teaches, but stay with it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Lao Tzu, whose philosophy deeply influenced Stoic thought, taught, "The sage does not attempt anything very big, and thus achieves greatness." We live in a world that equates busyness with progress. But much of what we call taking action is really just anxiety wearing a productive disguise. We stay busy because stillness makes us uncomfortable. We keep pushing because we're secretly afraid that if we stop, everything will fall apart. But this frantic, grasping energy often pushes away the very things we're trying to attract. Strategic non-action isn't laziness. It's the confidence to step back after you've done your part and trust the process to unfold. It's knowing when to plant seeds and when to let them germinate in darkness. It's understanding that some things simply cannot be rushed, no matter how badly you want them. Think of a master chess player. They don't move pieces just to be moving. They wait. They study. They hold their position in apparent stillness while their opponent makes hasty, nervous moves. Their patience is their power. Their restraint is their strategy. This week, practice 2 phrases. I don't know when you genuinely don't, and I'll wait when waiting feels right. Notice how that creates space. for solutions, for opportunities, for the kind of clarity that forced action was actually blocking. Gratitude is not about being polite. It is not about forcing yourself to smile through pain or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. The Stoics understood gratitude as something far more powerful, a fundamental shift in how your mind relates to reality. And that shift, practiced consistently, changes what you attract. Marcus Aurelius began each morning by acknowledging difficulty. He would remind himself that people would be difficult, ungrateful, frustrating. And then he chose to look for beauty anyway, not because he was naive, because he understood that where you place your attention is where your energy goes. Here's what real gratitude does energetically. It shifts you from operating in scarcity to operating in abundance. Not by changing your circumstances, but by changing what you see within them. You stop radiating, "I don't have enough," and start radiating, "Look how much is already here." And that shift, subtle as it is, changes everything about what you attract next. The magic isn't just in feeling grateful privately, it's in expressing it. Tell someone today what they mean to you. Write a thank you for a small kindness. Pause before a meal and actually notice that you have one. When the universe sees you treating what you've already been given with genuine appreciation, it trusts you with more. Gratitude doesn't just acknowledge what you have, it multiplies it. Principle 7. The strength of emotional sovereignty. Two people receive the same rejection letter on the same day. One spirals, cancels plans, tells the story for months, lets it define what they believe is possible for them. The other feels the sting, fully, honestly, and then asks, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this energy?" and moves forward with something new. Same rejection. Completely different lives 6 months later. The difference isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's emotional sovereignty. Seneca taught that our emotional reactions are not inevitable responses, they are choices. And when you understand that, you reclaim creative power over your own life. Emotional sovereignty doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means feeling them fully without letting them drive. You acknowledge anger without becoming destructive. You honor sadness without drowning in it. You feel fear without letting it make your decisions. Because here's what most people don't realize. Your emotions are your creative energy. When you're in control of your emotional state, you're in control of what you're creating. When you can find peace in the middle of chaos, you become a powerful magnet for peaceful circumstances. The practice: when a strong emotion arrives, pause. Ask, "What is this trying to tell me? What can I learn? How can I use this?" Then make a conscious choice about what you'll do with the energy it's giving you. Your emotions are meant to be messengers, not masters. Principle 8. The philosophy of enough. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome. He had everything the world said should make a person happy: status, money, influence, comfort. And he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." This wasn't the philosophy of someone who didn't understand material success. This was the philosophy of someone who had it, and discovered that the feeling he thought all of it would bring was available to him long before any of it arrived. The philosophy of enough isn't about settling. It's about recognizing that the sense of abundance you're chasing externally is already available to you internally. And here's the paradox that changes everything. When you genuinely feel like you have enough, you stop operating from desperation. You stop grasping. And things, real things, good things, begin to move toward you naturally. Think about the most energetically attractive people in your life. They're not the ones constantly complaining about what they lack. They're the ones who seem genuinely content, not complacent, but content, while still being curious and excited about growth. That contentment isn't weakness, it's confidence. It's the deep, quiet knowing that you are already whole, already enough. And from that foundation, you can pursue your dreams from love, not fear. Tonight, before you sleep, do this. Mentally inventory your life, your health, your relationships, the small, ordinary moments that ask nothing of you. Feel, really feel, how rich it already is. That energy, that's the foundation that miracles are built on. Principle 9. The courage of authentic expression. Imagine spending years climbing a ladder, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. That's what happens when we build our lives around other people's expectations instead of our own truth. We hustle toward goals that don't actually belong to us. We perform personalities designed to earn approval from people whose opinions were never really ours to carry. Marcus Aurelius wrote a reminder to himself: how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does. The courage to be authentically yourself isn't just about personal freedom, it's about manifestation power. When you're not being genuine, you're essentially giving the universe a wrong address. You're asking for things meant for someone else, while hiding the person who has what's actually meant for them. Authentic expression doesn't mean being inconsiderate or reckless. It means having the quiet courage to speak your truth with kindness, to pursue what genuinely excites you, not what you think should excite you, to make decisions based on your own values, not other people's expectations. And here's the beautiful thing: authenticity is self-sorting. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you start attracting people who genuinely love the real you. When you stop chasing goals that don't fit, you start manifesting experiences that actually satisfy your soul. Some people won't understand you. That's not failure. That's alignment. Today, in one conversation, say what you actually think. In one decision, choose what you actually want. Notice what opens up. Principle 10. Trust in divine timing. Think about the best things that have happened in your life. How many of them arrived exactly when you planned? How many came through the door you expected, on the schedule you demanded? Probably very few. Most of your greatest blessings likely arrived as surprises, through unexpected paths, at moments when you weren't even looking for them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." The Stoics believed in a universe that was rational and purposeful. One where everything unfolds with a wisdom larger than our personal timelines and preferences. And your impatience, however understandable, is often the biggest obstacle between you and what you've asked for. When you demand that things happen on your schedule, you create resistance against a flow that was already moving in your favor. You miss doors because you're so focused on one particular window. You reject good things because they don't look exactly like what you ordered. But when you trust the timing, when you do your part with dedication and then surrender the outcome with grace, something shifts. Delays stop feeling like failures and start feeling like preparation. Detours start looking like divine redirection. You don't stop taking action. You don't stop setting goals. You simply hold them more lightly and trust that life has a bigger, wiser plan than what you can see from where you're standing right now. The universe is always working in your favor, especially when it doesn't feel that way. Your job is to align with that truth and let it carry you. Closing. The ancient Stoics didn't have vision boards. They didn't have manifestation journals or morning routine checklists. But they understood something that most modern self-help misses entirely. True manifestation isn't about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you need to be to receive what's meant for you. When you practice detached desire, present moment awareness, accepted resistance, inner authority, strategic non-action, gratitude, emotional sovereignty, the philosophy of enough, authentic expression, and trust in divine timing, you stop fighting against the current of life and start flowing with it. Peace isn't the absence of challenges, it's the presence of wisdom. And wisdom, applied consistently, creates the conditions for everything good to flow toward you. Your manifestations are already on their way. Your only job is to relax, trust, and become ready to receive them. Stay stoic, stay strong, and stay open to miracles.